Hi everyone, and welcome to today's live webinar on YouTube. Today we're going to be having a bit of a relaxed discussion on actions organisations can take to amp up their e-learning this year. So I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping first, and then we're going to get started. I'd like to also introduce my co-hosts Ray and Kim, who are in the customer education and engagement team at eCreators and OpenLMS. So hi Ray and Kim.
Hi Danny. Hi Kim.
Hi Danny, thanks.
Good. During the discussion, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We have people monitoring the chat, so they'll be able to ask us questions, or they'll be able to answer your questions as we're going through. So yeah, let's get started. So one of the things I wanted to start off by talking about in this webinar is about mobile learning and creating mobile learning, because I know that over the past few years, people consuming learning content on different devices has become a really big thing. We've got learners who aren't using a computer anymore, but they're using things like tablets and smartphones, and it's changing the way we have to develop learning content so that they can be consumed on those different types of devices, which is becoming really important. I know we have a few clients and e-creators whose main cohort of users are only going to be using things like smartphones to consume content, because that's the only device that they have available to them to complete their training, or they're on the road and they have to use mobile devices to be able to complete that training, and they don't always have access to a computer to be able to do so. So yeah, I wanted to start off the discussion. I might hand over to Kim so she can tell us a little bit about mobile learning and things that she's found.
Thanks, Danny. Well, I have to say, with mobile learning, in 2019, there were 6.8 billion mobile users worldwide, and it's actually predicted to reach 7 billion by 2021. And that's according to business data platform Statista. So people are moving around from app to app, and we're spending more and more time on our mobile devices. So with that in mind, what do we need from our mobile platforms? We need to think about learner engagement. We need to think about flexibility, anytime, on-demand learning, performance tracking, and accessibility more and more, now that our learners are definitely using mobile devices as their preferred platform for learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And learning and courses that are made mobile friendly can tap into this flexibility phenomenon. And with approximately over 91% of global internet users access the internet on their mobile devices. So learners from different age groups and demographics do prefer using applications on their mobile devices rather than sitting in front of a screen accessing a web. So that's just one little hot tip that we've got for you when you're actually accessing the mobile platform.
One of the things that I've found is that you can't design learning content that's you're intending to distribute to users via mobile the same way that you would for someone that was consuming that content via a computer. You can't have those long 45-minute courses. You need very concise engaging pieces of learning content, because people on a mobile device get distracted. You can imagine yourself when you're on a mobile device and you're moving from one app to another. You need to push that content out to them in a way that is easy for them to digest, and they're not spending a large amount of time.
That's right, Danny. And when we're thinking about, our mobile devices and capturing their attention, especially when they're flicking between app to app and thinking about, how long we spend on each of those apps, one thing that we can do is we can integrate more video content, which actually partners really well with mobile learning. It's an effective instructional format that boosts motivation, engagement, and knowledge retention, particularly for our visual learners. And other benefits of mobile learning on mobile devices is the ability to track your online classes. You can communicate with all of your learners in one place. You can send Facebook-style messages and notifications out to each of your learners. And last of all, you can record video, audio, and take pictures all on the same device, which is really handy as well. So how about we share our top 3 takeaways on mobile learning? And I'll go first. So think about how your content translates to different mobile devices, whether that's a mobile phone or a tablet, and actually don't be afraid to test and adjust your design along the way to make sure that it looks and feels right on each of those devices.
Yeah, so one of my top tips, which I've probably already covered, is designing more micro learning for mobile devices instead of large chunks of content, so that people don't get distracted on a mobile device while they're trying to learn something or go through your course.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's using a mobile device is a very user-friendly platform, and it's very easy to click through the various menu items that appear on your mobile device.
All right, so how about we move on to our next topic, and let's talk about content. So content, let's think about custom, off-the-shelf, or in-house curation. Now, 2021 is definitely a content robust year, and learners want fun and engaging courses. No one wants to sit through 48 pages of text or endless slides with little interactivity. Learners nowadays are looking for ways to tap into resources online that they can quickly access from their mobile devices. Danny, what do you think about content?
So there's lots of content that people are looking for these days, especially in the compliance space. Off-the-shelf content that you can purchase to easily deliver to students for different compliance training, like bullying and harassment, staff inductions, IT security, all of the things that you would usually have to take when you're in an organisation and needing to do your yearly compliance training. But I think there's also very niche courses that you need to create where you're needing to contextualise that information for your organisation. So, you can frequently and quickly change those. And I think the other big thing that I want to mention about content is the recent issues with Flash. So if you have content that is built in Flash, a lot of SCORM content that was built a few years ago was built out in Flash. That Flash was end of life in December last year, so it needs to be converted if you still want to be able to use it into HTML5, which I know that we have many of our clients who have needed to do that work because of the content that they were previously using.
Yeah, and if you do sort of require, course customization, then, feel free to reach out to us. Contact your account manager, and what they'll do is they'll assist you in the process, because each project is going to be unique and everyone's going to have specific needs. So if you do have content that you want looked at, then please do reach out to us.
Thanks, Ray. Look, you're absolutely right there, and there are many brilliant, e-learning content development tools that can take your course content creation efforts really to the next level. We've got tools out there like Gomo, Articulate Storyline, Adobe Captivate, and H5P, just to name a few. So if you're looking to do any of that work yourself, or whether that's engaging one of the partners, there are lots of tools out there available.
Yeah, do we have any free software, Danny, that that might be interested to our clients?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people are taking advantage of at the moment is if they're not able to use things like Articulate Storyline or Adobe Captivate, is actually looking at a product called H5P, which is already integrated inside the Moodle platform, and it allows you to quickly and easily create interactive learning content within the platform. So H5P allows you to create things like interactive videos. It allows you to create drag and drop activities, very interactive and engaging content that you don't need to use an external authoring tool to create. If you go to their website, I believe it's h5p.org. If someone monitoring the chat is able to drop that link in there, that would be great. So anyone who wants to know more about H5P can go across to the H5P website and have a look at different examples that you can create inside Moodle. So the plugin is integrated inside Moodle, and then H5P has a really great website with examples on there for you to have a look at and recreate.
What about off-the-shelf courses? They're actually another great option as well. If you don't have the resources, the time, or perhaps you might even have a small budget. We also have a partner at Go1, which have an amazing content hub, and it's actually one of the largest curated e-learning libraries from the world's top training provider. Danny, do you have anything to add there as well?
Yeah, I think one of the great things about Go1 is that they do, like you said, they do have a really large repository of courses, but one of their services is actually to help you curate courses that are going to work within your organization. So if getting off-the-shelf content is something that you're interested in, let us know and we can put you in contact with someone at Go1 to help you out.
All right, what about our 3 top tips on content? So I'll go first again. My number 1 would be to use a variety of Moodle activities to promote active and social learning. Danny and Ray, what are your top tips?
Yeah, look, for me, I think students need to be able to look forward to actually doing the course. You need to make it sort of enjoyable. And the spin-off from that is that what that does, it reduces any retention issues, and it also increases your enrollments because the word of mouth gets around that the content is really good, it's interactive, and that's good for your course.
Yeah, I think leading on from what you've said, Ray, for me, it has to be entertaining. Like you have to be able to engage those learners to get them to get through the learning content and also absorb that knowledge, because no one wants to sit there and read a slab of text on a device. You want to make it entertaining. Yeah, I know. I can see a question from someone about using TikTok, and I think TikTok is amazing because you have to have very engaging learning content or very engaging information in a very, very short space of time. Otherwise, people just won't watch it.
Yep. All right, let's move on to data and analytics. And the thing we need to stress here is that better data makes it very good for analyzing the data. And if you analyze the data, then this will lead to better decisions when you actually are involved in your course development. So what we need to do here is consider understanding your data to use for your remote workforce, or how online learners could boost their outcome massively.
Yeah, so I think data is really, really important when it comes to teachers and course creators and being able to track engagement rates. Because if you know where people are dropping off, you'll be able to make changes to your learning content to keep people engaged for the duration of their learning, as opposed to dropping off because things are prohibiting them from actually wanting to move on in the course.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
One of the things, especially if you're using video, is being able to look at where people are dropping off and coming back into the video based on what you're providing for them inside that course.
Yep, Great. So what we need to have a learning return on our investment, which is important, and hard data is a big part of that, but it can also be about collecting stories, and saving these stories and capturing quality data can be a great way to gain executive approval for your e-learning initiatives. And we've got other methods as well. These include capturing thoughts and experiences through surveys, polls, and also open questions. Now, we've also got IntelliBoard, and that has a brilliant plugin to make your data work for you. And we have more information on IntelliBoard, which is available as a plugin on our eCreators Academy. So you'll find that at ecreatorsacademy.learnbook.com.au. So if you have any issues logging in, just get in touch with us and we'll help you log in so you can have a bit of a look and see how IntelliBoard can help you.
Just as you touched on there, Danny, analytics can track interactions and other sources of data really down to a granular level, which really helps us to understand the effectiveness of our course delivery. It can help identify areas to optimize based on preferences, interests, and circumstances, as well as highlight opportunities to maximize engagement in your delivery. Now, the important thing is to listen to your data and to investigate the trends, which go hand in hand with continuous improvement when we're evaluating our courses, its content, and its overall reach to our learners.
That's right. And also advanced learning analytics and an e-learning record store as a focus for your data could bring new innovative solutions to improve your learners' experience.
So guys, what are our top 3 tips for data analytics? Mine would be, again, to identify, investigate, and action the trends in your data, thinking about that overall continuous improvement of your course design.
Yep, for me, I would say that data needs to be accurate, but it also needs to be meaningful.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'll say is to listen to what the data is telling you, to be able to track the data and then listen to what it says. You can have all the data in the world, but if you're not actually listening and interpreting that data so that you can create better learning content, it's effectively going to be meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now we're going to talk about training the trainers. I think 2020 was the year for everyone coming online and trying to get themselves online and delivering online content, because we just didn't have the option to be face-to-face for a lot of the year. So it's been really a year for rapid growth in the need for upskilling education professionals to be more successful in an online environment, because teaching online can be very, very different to teaching face-to-face as we've traditionally done for a long time, and how our trainers can get the most out of the tools that they have for moving from a face-to-face environment through to an online learning environment.
Exactly right, Danny. We are seeing a shift from a teacher or a lecturer role to more of a facilitator type role that guides our students through their online learning, because we're not actually with them face to face in the classroom anymore. We've now got a screen between us. So that role has definitely changed as well. So delivering course content through a screen is that different reality, and it requires a specific skill set, as you just said, for both the teacher, but also I would say the course creator as well, to make that transition from using our resources in the classroom to translating that to an online environment. One thing that I would mention is, if you're going to take more of a student-centered learning approach, which essentially puts the student in the driver's seat to take ownership of their online learning. And in this scenario, this is where the facilitator guides them through their course using various activities, active learning strategies that ultimately promote that learner engagement, because we need to capture and hold that engagement online, again, because we don't have them physically attending classes and have those set times. So I've got a couple of little examples that we could think about if we're going to take that approach online. Number one, let's think about using Moodle forum activities to generate discussion around a topic where the facilitator moderates that flow of the discussion and gets that involvement from our learners. We could also consider using breakout rooms and whiteboards in live seminars to get that problem solve and that discussion amongst the group. And last of all, I might mention using case study assignments as another option for individual learners to help them apply their knowledge and also integrate that with the other activities like the forums to reach out and promote that discussion among the students as they work through their assignments too. Danny or Ray, do you have any ideas that you might want to share on this shift from teachers to facilitators and how they can make that transition?
I think one of the things for me, because I was teaching a lot of our Moodle public courses face-to-face and then had to move to online as because we couldn't travel anymore. One of the things for me was actually keeping people engaged and being able to detect when they needed help or when they didn't understand something. So just giving them an easy way to be able to raise their hand or ask questions was one of the things that I found was really, really important, because when you're in a face-to-face environment, you can see someone's facial expression and be able to sort of ascertain whether or not they're having trouble or they need to ask a question or you need to go on and clarify something. Whereas in an online environment, giving them a lot of opportunity to be able to ask those questions so that they can get through the learning content and understand it. So that's one of the things that I found was really important.
Yeah, the key is for the student to be able to reach out if they are running into any difficulties, so that they're not sort of left behind or they're not stuck.
Yep.
And again, I think there's lots of Moodle activities that we can build into our courses to help students reach out not only to their facilitators or their teachers, but to their peers as well for that support and in working through their learning too. So let's wrap up on this one with our final 3 tips on training. Number one, use Moodle activities to drive the active learning with the facilitator, taking that guiding role and helping answer their questions in the forums, for example.
Yep, for me, I would say that we need to support your trainers, support the teachers and educators with activities that are meaningful to the students and also the tools that are available that you can put into your course.
And giving them professional development opportunities to help them be more effective as they transition from a face-to-face to more of an online format of training or facilitating, because it is a very different experience as a trainer or a facilitator to teach online versus teaching in the classroom. Great. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our sort of discussion, but I want to open the floor for question and answers. I know we have a few questions in the chat from some of our attendees, so I'll start going through those. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll go through and answer them as best we can. So I think the first question from Gina was a way for students to upload their videos onto a mobile device or videos to a mobile device. I think for me, one of the greatest things about mobile devices, like you said earlier, Kim, was being able to take video on the same device that you're going to be uploading from. So that's one of the things that I really like about mobile learning is the user can take the video and then upload it via a file picker inside the assessment tool, or even I know these days there are video repositories like Warpwire that will assist users with being able to upload video. Exactly right, Danny. If they're accessing their learning on their mobile phones, you can quickly take that photo or do your video recording for your assignments and then just upload it all on the same device without having to, send it to your computer and then upload it that way.
In terms of the second part of this question, does the size of the video matter? I think the only limitation would be based on your Moodle settings. So if your site has a upload limit, you might need to check there with your site administrators or your teachers what that limit may be, and that may be, a couple of 100 megabytes all the way up to, 2 to 4 gigabytes. So I would just check with your administrator on the size.
Yeah, the thing we need to make sure is it's as easy for people to upload. So we don't want to make things complicated. We need to make it as easy as possible for them.
I think the other thing as well in terms of sizes of videos is when you're creating content is to be conscious of students and their download limits or their data on their mobile phones or smart devices, because you may have users that have a very small download limit. So asking them to download those videos can be quite heavy on their data usage on those phones. We then have a question from Peter about any tips for using TikTok for training. I haven't quite used TikTok in the training environment before. I do use it personally, and I think as long as you can keep your learning content interesting, engaging, and under a minute, then it works pretty well.
If we think about social learning, in that as well, because, a lot of that does come from things like social media. In social learning, we look up to people out there, especially people like influencers. So if you are, I would say from a perspective of social media using TikTok, that you are sharing the content that you want for your learners to be, viewing that's relevant to the course, and it is spreading the right message for that course.
Thanks, Kim. The next question is from Tom, and he really likes Articulate, but it's not the easiest to use. Can you share a bit more on H5P and using it in the LMS? I think the greatest thing about H5P is that it has widgets that help you through the content creation process. There are lots of examples on their website, and there's also tutorials within Moodle that help you to build the content in H5P. I don't know if Kim or Ray have any other comments about using H5P inside the platform. Kim, I know you've used it quite a bit recently with helping some of our clients build out H5P content. So if there's any tips that you have.
Yeah, H5P, and it's integrated into Moodle, so you've got the full library there available. And it's not only there for, assessment purposes, it's also there for displaying your information in different ways, things like, accordions and slides, and then you do have all those little interactive things like hotspots, drag the words, puzzles. There's so many options available there in H5P, and the important thing that we talked about earlier is that it's free and available in the platform to integrate into your courses. So you can either have the activities there, or you can embed them into other activities as well. And also iframing. That is possible to iframe those activities. If you're going to hide them in the background but make them available, you can also include them into other areas that allow the iframe. So they are quite flexible, and they are a good little opportunity to add in that extra interactivity and engagement with both your content and your assessments.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also plenty of examples on the H5P website as well. So as Kim was saying, there's things like, quizzes and all different types of activities. So jump on the H5P website, have a look in there. There's plenty of examples for you to have a look at, and maybe you can implement them into your courses.
Great, and I think we'll just take one last question and then we'll wrap up. So Gina's asked, what's your opinion on H5P Moodle core activities and resources versus using SCORM packages? So one of the things for me is using H5P Moodle core activities or resources versus SCORM is that you can edit anything that you built in H5P or Moodle core activities and resources fairly easily if you need to. With SCORM packages, you have to go through and edit the source file, re-export it, and upload it back into the platform. So if you need to change anything, it's a little bit more effort than just doing it in Moodle. But having said that, you can create some really nice interactive content within SCORM, like from using authoring tools like Articulate or Rise, that you can't quite do using H5P or Moodle's activities and resources. Cool. Kim or Ray, is there anything that you'd like to comment on before we wrap up?
No, I think we've covered lots of different topics and tips there, and there's been some great questions that have come through. So
absolutely, there's been some great comments, and we certainly enjoyed putting it all together for you.
Well, thanks so much, Ray and Kim, for joining me today. Thank you so much for everyone who attended and everyone who asked questions. We really appreciate that you've come along, and feel free to get in touch if there's anything that we can help you with in the e-learning space. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right, see you.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.